and the cervical cup. First, what is diaphragm? It is a soft lattice cup that covers the cervix when used as an family method. So it is the cup is provided with a rim that is firm with flexible spring. It is also used with a spermicidal cream, jelly, or foam, and it comes in different sizes, and it works by blocking sperm cell from entering the cervix. So how effective is diaphragm? Depends on the user. How will you use the diaphragm? When typically used, about 16 of 100 who use the diaphragm with spermicide become pregnant over the first year. So out of 100, 16 ang possible nga pregnant sa first nga tuig sa paggamit sa diaphragm. This means that 84 of every 100 women using diaphragm will not become pregnant. So meaning to say, out of 100, 84 ang dili manabdos. So when used correctly with every sexual intercourse, about 6 of 100 women who use the diaphragm with spermicide become pregnant over the first year. So meaning to say, unong ang possible nga ma-pregnant o gumagamit sa diaphragm with spermicide. So mas kuan siya, mas jutay siya kung gamitin siya correctly, jutay ang manabdos. Provided some protection against certain STIs but should not be relied on as the only protection against STI. So, dili siya provided if nag-STI ka, dili siya provided nga kuan protection sa kuan na mga STIs. So, how is diaphragm used? So, saan siya paggamit? A client can use a diaphragm anytime. So, pwede siya namang gamitin anytime, but must wait for 6 weeks if the client had full term delivery or had a second trimester abortion. So, wait pa kang 6 months if nag-try ka or if napaan ka or na-abortion, second trimester abortion, and of course, full term sa delivery, bago ka na. So, here are the following steps ang provider. So, first, proper infection procedures. So, of course, infection procedures, kailangan gamiton. Instruct the client to assume a letotomy procedures. So, muna siya usually position if manganak. So, position for a pelvic examinations and assess for conditions. So, uterine prolapse. That makes the diaphragm improper to use. So, muna siya mahitabo uterine prolapse. So, next, perform an interval examination. So, kailangan po siya di mo examine sa interval examination to assess the cervix and determine the diaphragm size. So, kailangan siya interval examination para mabalaan if unsang size o ma-determine na to ang diaphragm size niya. Then, insert a special fitting diaphragm into the client's vagina. So, i-insert na to siya sa right fitting na size sa client's vagina. So, here are following steps using ang naggamit. User when using the diaphragm. So, check the diaphragm for any damage. Check kung ano may mga damage. Insert the diaphragm less than 6 hours. So, gamitin siya less than 6 hours before having sex. Then, after hand washing with soap and water, then squeeze spoonful of spermicidal cream, jelly, or foam into the diaphragm and around the rim. So, kailangan siya ang spermicidal cream if i-insert na siya. Then next, press the rim together to ease the insertion of the device into vagina. Feels the diaphragm and the rim to make sure that it is covers the entire cervix. So, imo siyang i-feel mo diaphragm kung na-cover ba siya sa entire cervix. Then, keep the diaphragm in place at least 6 hours after having sex, but no longer than 4 hours. So, you must stay siya sa imong vagina or sa imong cervix 6 hours, but no longer than 4 hours. So, who can and cannot use the diaphragm? So, kinsa may pwedeng mugamit sa diaphragm and who cannot mugamit sa diaphragm? All women can. So, tanang women pwede. severe allergic reaction to the latex. So, of course, dili pwede mo gamit katong na ay mga severe allergic reaction sa mga latex nga type nga kuan kanang mga things. So, HIV protection, infection, or high risk of HIV infections. Of course, dili pwede mo gamit katong na mga HIV infections. So, what are the health benefits and risks of and complications adding diaphragms? So, the protections, that protects against the risk of pregnancy. So, protect siya against the risk of pregnancy, of course, and diaphragm mo na siya isa sa mga kuan kanang isa siya sa galamiton para protection against the pregnancy. So, the known health risks include urinary infection, bacterial vaginosis, or candidiasis. So, muna siya yung mga complication, risk in urinary infection. So, the side effects may include vaginal lesions or irritation in or around vagina or penis. So, nato siya side effects sa mga atong vaginal lesion, kanang mga samad-samad. So, how are the side effects addressed? So, sa atong buhaton, if side effects, women with allergic reactions. So, katong mga women nga mag-allergic reaction, the provider can counsel the client to use other effective methods. So, if the client is kanang may allergic reaction to the kanang diaphragm, so ang provider mo pa na siya mo matay na sila o other method nga pwede nimo siyang gamitan. So, important information should be provided to the client. So, kani siya mao ang mga important method nga information nga kailangan kabalo ang client. So, ensure that the client understand the methods. Of course, kailangan ng imong client kabalo anang method na imong ihatag sa ilaha. Explain the procedure. Describe common side effects. So, pabalo nimo siya sa mga common effects anang imong method nga ihatag. So, clarify that becomes pain, damage, or stiff should not be used and should not be replaced. So, imo siyang pabalon nga, imo siyang pa i-clarify sa iya nga kung manipis na anay damage, dili na siya nimo pwedeng ipagamit og usog or i-replace og usog. Replace every 2 years. So, every 2 years pwede siyang kanang ilisan, imo gid siyang ilisan every 2 years. So, what should be inquired from or advised to the client during follow-up? So, unsa may angay namo, what should be inquired and advised sa client? So, ask how the client is doing with the methods. So, imong pangutanan imong client if okay ra ba, unsa ra ba, unsay mga side effects or unsay mga feelings niya. Ask if she had trouble using it. So, what naaga siya problema sa paggamit. Ask a long-term client if she had any new health problems. So, panguntahan nimo imong client, katong mga karaang client nimo nga if naaga siya mga health problems. Inquire from a long-term client any major life changes that may affect her needs, particularly plans for having children, about the risk of STIs or HIV. So, what happened when clients stop using the diaphragm? So, unsay mahitabo sa client if mo stop siya o use sa diaphragm? So, faces the risk of getting pregnant. So, of course, nagyud ang possible nga managdos siya. And the risk of getting STIs or HIV. The risk po nga magka-STI siya, HIV. So, facts does not, facts ni siya, does not affect the enjoyment of sex. So, mani mga facts nga, bakit ba nila nga may mga dili daw kuno nga maka-enjoy sa usa ka client. So, affect the enjoyment of sex. So, dili siya maka-affect sa inyong sexual intercourse. Pass through the cervix. So, dili po siya musulod sa inyong cervix and cause cervical cancer. So, dili po siya maka-cancer. Counseling tips should be avoided to a client who chooses the methods. So, the method should not be repeated at least 6 weeks after childbirth or second trimester abortion. So as I said, so dili mo siya pwedeng gamiton kanang 6 weeks after childbirth. Then katong mga na-abortion, trimester abortion, when the uterus and cervix have returned to normal size. So wait pa kag 6 weeks, usa siya pwedeng gamiton. Reiterate that the risk of pregnancy is greatest. It should not be used if the client have HIV infections or at high risk for HIV infections, suggested using condoms instead. So, if kanang ang client na ay HIV, STIs, so you should advise your client nga mag-use og condom. Next, cervical cup. What is cervical cup? A cup-shaped device made of soft rubber that it fits over the cervix. So, lahi po niya mga klase nga method. It is a cervical cup. I have here this one. A diaphragm. This is the diaphragm. Something like this. Then, muna siya ihang forma. Latex form ni siya. Then this is the cervical cup. This is how will you use the cervical cup. Okay. So, what is cervical cup? A cup-shaped device made of soft rubber. So, the diaphragm is some kind of latex. Then this cervical cup, it is soft rubber that fits over the cervix. So, mufit siya sa cervix. It is held in place at least partially by suction between its firm, flexible rim and the surface of the cervix and the vaginal wall. So, one of the least effective method of family planning. So, one of the least niya nga effective method sa ato ang family planning. So, how effective is cervical cup? So, unsa siya ka-epektibo? Depends on the user, of course. When typically used, about 32 per 100 women who use the cervical cup with spermicide become pregnant over the first year of use. So, out of 100, if kanang panagsara siya nimong gamiton, so 32 ang manabdos over the first year sa paggamit sa cervical cup. This statistic indicates that 68 of every woman using the cervical cup will not become pregnant. So 68 ang dili manabdos. So when used correctly, paggamit ko ang sakto, about 20 per woman who use the cervical cup become pregnant over the first year of use. So out of 100, 20 ang manabdos kung imo siyang gamiton correctly. So panagsara no 20 diferensya sa panagsara mo siyang gamiton 32 ang manabdos. Well, this one if gamiton siya nimo kanang correct one siya kanang correct sa paggamit sa cervical cup. So out of 100, 20 lang manabdos. So how is the cervical cup used? So saan siya paggamit? A client can use the cervical cup anytime. So pwede siya nimong gamitan anytime, but have to wait for 6 weeks if the client has had full-term delivery or second trimester abortion. So same as diaphragm, dili ka gamit dayon if ganahan ka. If you had a full-term delivery or had a trimester abortion, wait sa ka 6 weeks. Then following steps sa providers. We are the provider, no? So, proper infection prevention procedures. It's the same as diaphragm. We need infection prevention procedures. Instruct the client to assume the autonomic position for pelvic examination and assess for condition that may make the cervical cup impossible to use. So, of course, yung siya pahidaon into lithotomy position, then perform an interval examination, insert the special fitting cervical cup into the client's vagina, then apply it to cover the cervix, making sure that the cervix cup fits properly and does not come out easily. So, make sure jud ka nga ma-fit siya sa vagina, sa cervix, sa vagina sa imong client, na makaver dyan siya sa cervix. So use of cervical cap. So check the cervical cap for any damage. So ang paano niya siya, ang user niya siya. Fill 1/3 of the cap, including around the rim, with spermicidal, cream, jelly, or foam. So you need to put something na siya no para effective siya spermicidal cream. Press the rim cap around the cervix until it's completely covered. So imo siya i-press, then pasulod mo siya. Press gently on the dome of the cup to apply suction and seal the cup. So na siya yung mga ways nga saan siya pagsulod sa sa imong sa vagina sa patient o sa client. Then fill the cervical cup rim to make sure it covers the entire cervix. Then for multiple sexual intercourse, make sure that the cup is in the correct position. So if kanang multiple sexual intercourse, so make sure gid na nasa correct position ang cervical cap. And insert additional spermicide in front of cervical cap before each sexual intercourse. So, how to remove? Removal of cervical cap. Leave the cervical cap for at least 6 hours. So, imo siyang pasagan at least 6 hours. Then, after the sexual intercourse, but not more than 48 hours from the time it was inserted. So, if ang client, imo siya inang nga, magstay siya sa imong vagina at least 6 hours, but not more than 48 hours from the time nga it was inserted. So, tip the cup rim sideways to break the seal on the cervix and gently pull the cup down and out of the vagina. So, mo siya ways how to remove the cervical cup. Then wash the cervical cup with mild soap and water and dry it after each use. So, pwede na siyang imong limpyuhan, sabon o tubig, then imo siyang pamalhon. So, who can and cannot use the cervical cap? So, same as diaphragm's question, kinsay pwede mo gamit and cannot use the cervical cap. So, nearly all women can use safely and effectively. So, tanang woman or nearly all women pwedeng makagamit safely and effectively. Women who develop lesion on the cervix when in contact with the cervical cap, so katong dili pwede na siya, katong na ay mga lesions, hindi siya pwede. Woman with HIV infection or high risk of HIV infection, so cannot use na siya. So same as the diaphragm, same lang yapon siya, what are the health benefits, risks, and complications. Important information should be provided to clients, what should be important from the advice client during follow-up, what happened when clients stop using the diaphragm facts, and counseling tips should be provided to a client who chooses the method. So same na siya sa diaphragm. So I explained it already, so I would not explain it more. So that's my report about the diaphragm and cervical cap. Thank you.